I was in Beirut for the first time in 1961 or 62.
Doing what?
The first time I was there, I was just kind of hanging out really on the beach with my friend Willa.
It was a place that you would go for a holiday?
No, we had driven an old vehicle there with some undergraduates in the back of it.
From England?
Yeah, and it eventually gave up the ghost on the road to Damascus, like we all do,
Yeah.
in one way or another.
Uh-huh.
It's not just Saul or Paul or whatever his name was.
Uh-huh.
And we were there for some time before I decided to hitchhike home, which you could do in 1962.
But was that a journey that you took? Like, what inspired it? Were you like reading the beatniks? Were you looking for something? I mean, why, to go there of all place? What compelled you?
We were on our way to Baghdad, obviously.
Oh, I'm
Dopey.
sorry. Of course you were. You had to, these are not vacation options for Americans. We don't.
They're not vacation options for anyone anymore.
That's true.
But they were then. That's where you went. That's where you were on your way to. You were on your way to Afghanistan. Yeah, via Baghdad.
Yeah.
That's where everybody was going to.
To smoke some hash.
Yeah. I wrote some short stories later on about that. And there's one thing that happened to me in Beirut that I'll tell you now. I wish I had the short story here, but I haven't, so I'll just tell you the bones of it. So there I am. Willa, this is my friend Willa. Anybody who's seen the film Roger Waters' The Wall, there's another old bloke in it with a beard, and we sit and kind of philosophize about things on the side of a hill in the south of France. He's my mate from then.
Oh, really?
We were 18 then, and we were in Beirut. So, and we would kind of live rough. Live off the local gay community, get a free lunch and then go swimming and whatever. So we're swimming one day and some kid steals my shoes. Well, you never get out of sight of your passport or your stuff.
Yeah.
But I was swimming and I saw this kid steal my shoes, wading through the surf, really difficult. Got out, he's gone.
Yeah.
Melted into the crowd like they do in old black and white movies.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around, I saw a cop. Well, in those days, the Lebanese, in their infinite wisdom, have cops whose only job is to look after foreigners,
Sure.
Because tourism was
Protecting
important.
tourism,
then. Not anymore.
No.
But it was there.
It's a tricky tourism.
So I go to this cop, hey, there's, kid stolen my shoes, blah, 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 blah. What we're going to do? Oh, we're going to go and look for him. So we set off to look for the needle in the haystack.
Yeah.
And unbelievably, suddenly I see him. That's him.
Yeah.
So the cop goes where, and he's a proper cop he's got a moustache a bit like you.
Yeah.
And so the kid looks at us and he looks at, and the cop sees him and the kid goes flight or flight, and eventually he goes, the cop obviously knows him. He must know every kid on his beat.
Right, yeah.
So he sort of gives in. You can see resignation. Cop comes over, jabber, 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 jabber. The kid's looking at the ground, a bit sullen.
Yeah.
And eventually, rather reluctantly, he takes my penny loafers off and puts them down. In the story, I think he said he places them in the neutral ground between us.
Yeah.
Like that. And the cop then waves him away with a sort of fingers hanging down kind of motion of his hand, like, go away. And the kid disappears in the crowd. Now, I'm 18 years old, kind of Oxbridge, believe in law and order and all of that. What the fuck's going on? You're letting him go. He stole my shoes. Where's the retribution here? And blah, blah, blah. And I'll never get this. It almost makes me tearful to remember it. The cop sort of looks at me pityingly, and for the first time he speaks to me in English.
Yeah.
I've heard nothing but jabber so far. And he looks at me and he goes, he is poor. And it went into my heart like a dagger. I was at least clever enough to understand that I was learning a lesson.
Right.
And that's what I say at the end of the story. I say, if when we're very young and dumb as shit and know nothing about anything, if we run into our cop, we're very lucky, because it's in that moment that we start to learn about love.
Yeah.
And it was a huge moment in my life, just that moment with that cop and that kid.
When you walked away from that moment, where you kind of jarred?
Yeah, I suddenly had to rethink the whole of jurisprudence.
Right.
And, and moral conditions and Christianity and right and wrong and all the rest of it. He is poor. You know, this. In fact, I'm about to go on the road doing a tour next year, and the new tour is called Us and Them, and it's only about that. It's about that. There's a line in the song, the old song from Dark Side of the Moon, Us and Them, which is why I've called the tour Us and Them, which goes with, without, and who'll deny it's what the fighting's all about. And as I say to people, unfortunately, almost everyone will deny that that is what the fighting's all about. Almost everyone, if you ask them, will suggest that the fighting is all about right and wrong, about the fact that we're right and they're wrong, and that they're conflicting ideologies of some kind, or that they want to hurt us, and that's why we're fighting. And my contention is that it's not about that at all. It's about with, without.
Absolutely.
It's about distribution of wealth.